Famous Felines Across Alternate Timelines, Volume 2. These are Neko artifacts. Across the infinite branches of the Echo web, cats continue to appear not just as companions, but as oracles, saints, revolutionaries, dream guides, and emotional anchors. These are the felines that never appeared in our timeline, but left paw prints across alternate worlds. Some were real, some were fiction. All were beloved in the timelines they came from. These are the famous felines of the Echo archive, both Echo witness-level cats, real, and Echo fictional cats in alternate media we never had in our timeline. Chapter 1. Echo witness level. Real cats from alternate timelines. General Whiskers, the siege cat of Sarajevo. Alternate timeline. Echo Balkans 1994. Resonance pocket. Siege of compassion. A gray tabby who lived in a ruined bakery during the siege. Took food to trapped children using a tiny harness pack. Locals called him the silent officer. Survived sniper fire, bombings, and freezing winters. His appearance was seen as a blessing. A ceasefire was once delayed when both sides watched him cross no man's land unharmed. Alternate history. In the Echo Balkans 1994 divergence, local networks and civilian survival culture rose as the only stable authority during the siege of Sarajevo. Cats, once seen as simple animals, became silent spiritual icons of hope and endurance. General Whiskers was cared for by a group of bakers who doubled as underground messengers. His ability to slip through shelled streets undetected made him vital for transporting tiny food bundles and morale notes. His story was spread by oral retellings and hand-painted murals in bombed-out neighborhoods. Cultural ripples. A mural of him carrying a bread roll became Sarajevo's symbol of resistance and survival. A special medal was posthumously awarded to him in 1998, the only animal to receive it in that world. Cloudberry. Alternate timeline. Echo Scandinavia, 1887. The luminous folk era. A long-haired white cat believed to be part Hulder, forest spirit, followed a young girl named Elska through her grief after her brother drowned. Locals claimed Cloudberry could vanish into mist and led travelers away from danger in snowstorms. After Elska died, Cloudberry appeared nightly on her grave for 9 years. Alternate history. In the Echo Scandinavia 1887 branch, Christianity never fully supplanted the old forest beliefs, and a wave of folkloric revivalism led to what scholars call the luminous folk era. Huldra, Tomte, and spirit animals were seen not as myths, but as potential presences. Cloudberry's tale was documented in an old regional folk journal, including sightings by hunters, healers, and mourning families. When Elska passed, locals claimed Cloudberry wept beside her grave and vanished, never to be seen again. Cultural ripples. Inspired a century of poetry in that world's northlands. Children leave small bowls of cream outside during the full moon in case Cloudberry walks tonight. Chomp. Alternate timeline. Echo Seattle, 1992. Early internet surge divergence. The first cat to go internet viral in a timeline where GIFs and memes spread much earlier. Famous for attacking computer mice and appearing in Y2K warnings, became the face of anti-corporate net freedom. Died in 2001, sparking a brief week of blackout mourning across net communities. Alternate history. The Echo Seattle 1992 divergence saw the rise of decentralized proto-internet nodes due to an earlier fall of Netscape. As a result, net culture became more grassroots, creative, and chaotic, less corporate. Chomp was recorded by a hacker collective using modified webcams and became a meme across pre-Y2K modems. When Chomp died unexpectedly, entire forums dimmed their UIs and added paw print icons. A virtual memorial space still exists in that world's surviving webshell OS. In this timeline, Netscape collapsed far earlier, around 1994 to 1995, not from corporate takeover, but from internal instability and early telecom patent conflicts. With no dominant browser rising to replace it, universities, DIY programmers, and cyberpunk collectives filled the vacuum, creating a fractured but vibrant folk web. Chomp was a real tabby cat, owned by a member of a small hacker commune in Echo, Seattle, 1992. His home was the converted upstairs of a closed-down electronics shop, where a loose collective of coders, tinkerers, and early cyberpunks lived and worked on decentralized protocols and self-built machines. Chomp became the early web's accidental patron saint after biting through a mouse cable on a prototype webcam feed run by his owner, a hacker known as Nullmilk. His raw, unscripted antics became the symbol of a decentralized net that defied early corporate influence. A reminder that sometimes the smallest, most accidental icons become the ones people trust the most. Cultural ripples. Chomp the Mouse stickers were considered anti-authority symbols. A fan-created OS shell named ChompCat became the default on indie systems. Hobbit. Alternate timeline. Echo NZ, 1979. Earthlight hippie continuum. A one-eyed Maine Coon who lived in a commune near sacred Maori sites, said to sense spiritual unrest and would walk silently into trance circles. Known to sleep only in teepees when rain was coming. Rumors claimed he once led a missing child out of a forest after a full day alone. Alternate history. In the Echo NZ 1979 timeline, Western hippie culture merged respectfully with Maori mysticism after the accidental discovery of ley convergent land near the Waitomo Caves. Communes like Earthlight Grove practiced a hybrid of ancestral memory work and ecological tuning. Hobbit appeared shortly after the Grove's founding and was seen as a pathfinder. The child he rescued later became a trance musician who composed the Feline Path Suite, still used in healing ceremonies there today. Cultural ripples. Revered as a symbol of natural alignment, Hobbit says when it's time to leave. A ceremonial drumbeat still bears his paw print in that timeline's solstice festivals. Sister Clarence. Alternate timeline. Echo Boston, 1911. Mercy Sisters Divergence. A tabby nun cat who lived in a hospital run by mystical nuns post-Great Fire. Wore a tiny habit. Trained to bless patients by curling up at their feet. Predicted death with shocking accuracy, but only when a patient was at peace. No patient she blessed ever screamed or panicked at the end. Alternate history. In the Echo Boston 1911 timeline, a divergence occurred when mystical Catholic orders were allowed to openly merge with esoteric healing practices after the Great Fire. The Sisters of Mercy Light ran an experimental hospital that combined prayer, herbal medicine, and resonant creature therapy. Sister Clarence was brought in as a kitten and quickly became part of the staff. Her accuracy in sensing peaceful deaths became known across the East Coast, and Clarence protocols are still taught in hospice-equivalent spiritual training. Cultural ripples. Inspired a tradition of placing small carved cat statues in hospital chapels. The phrase, "Clarence is watching," became a term of comfort for those near death. Chapter 2. Eco-fictional felines from alternate timelines. Sherlock Holmes. From Meowstery Files, The Whisker League, 1987 to 1994. Alternate timeline, Echo Toonstripe, 1987. A timeline where 1980s syndicated animation embraced mature literary themes, leading to a wave of anthropomorphic detective series, noir fantasy cartoons, and mythic mini-arcs in Saturday morning slots. Often called the Ink and Ivy era. A Victorian feline detective with a monocle and violin. Solves crimes of cosmic consequence alongside Meow Riardi. Famous line, "The game's a paw." Known for deducing human emotions through scent trails. Alternate history. In a branch where anthropomorphic mystery cartoons dominated 1980s syndication, Sherlock Holmes debuted as part of the Whisker League programming block in 1987. It was part serious mystery, part cosmic horror spoof. The show's art direction leaned into foggy gas lamp visuals, and Holmes's violin was used to place sigils into the air. Educators loved it for its logic puzzles. Occultists loved it for its symbolism. Cultural notes. This timeline had an entire subgenre of animal mystery cartoons that we never received. Mochi the Softblade. From Winds of Ink and Blood, 1995 Tactical RPG. Alternate timeline. Neko JRPG. Sakura, 1995. In this branch, Square splintered early, and smaller studios flourished with poetic, experimental RPGs rooted in Japanese aesthetic philosophy and Edo period storytelling. Known for its brushstroke combat and high emotional literacy. A samurai cat with ink-dipped claws. Each attack writes part of a poem. Quiet, sad-eyed, honorable. Dies, saving the main character from a ghost general. Final line. Let my poem end with silence. Alternate history. Mochi originated in the 1995 tactical RPG Winds of Ink and Blood from a timeline where JRPGs retained literary roots longer. In that world, Square splintered into several creative studios after 1992, and one such studio created Winds as a poetic, tragic war story. Mochi became iconic due to her combination of gameplay effect, attacks forming verse, and emotional impact. Her death scene is considered one of the 3 great cries of RPG history. Cultural notes. Considered one of the best written animal characters in JRPGs from that world. Captain Snugglebomb. From Kittenauts, 2004 animated parody adventure. Alternate timeline. Echo Boom Core 2004. A late-stage pop culture divergence where post-9/11 media anxiety gave way to radical absurdism and emotionally chaotic cartoons. Parody mascots like Snugglebomb became icons of catharsis and anti-doomer joy through slapstick surrealism. A tiny, violent fuzzball who pilots a ship powered by love and tuna. Speaks only in purring tones, which the rest of the crew fully understands. Accidentally saves the universe by sneezing on the self-destruct button. Alternate history. In Echo Boom Core 2004, where parody culture turned deeply surreal after a wave of sincere animated failures, Kittenauts was greenlit by a producer high on nostalgia and post-9/11 absurdism. Snugglebomb was written as a satire of the cute mascot trope, but fans latched onto him sincerely. His facial expressions were rotoscoped from real shelter cats. His final sneeze scene, set to a tragic violin remix, became the subject of entire film studies papers. Cultural notes. Became a beloved slapstick mascot. Plushies of him outsold all other merchandise in that timeline's 2000s. Loomtail. From the Stitchwitch's Loom, 1993 picture book series. Alternate timeline. Echo Grieflight 1993. A soft branch of Echo UK where children's literature embraced grief, loss, and emotional alchemy. Therapy-integrated publishing houses flourished here, and dream imagery was seen as essential to childhood healing literacy. A blue-furred feline who spins yarn from dreams, lives in a hidden attic that moves between houses, only appears to children after a great loss, helps them weave new meaning with threads of old memories. Alternate history. In the Echo UK 1993 timeline, children's literature remained poetic and grief-centered into the 1990s. The Stitchwitch's Loom was published as a picture book series and used in grief counseling after national tragedies. Loomtail became a cultural fixture, a creature associated with safe sadness. Cultural notes. cited by therapists in that timeline as a literary anchor for grieving children. Teachers were trained to reference Loomtail when helping children cope with loss. A stage musical based on the books toured through hospitals and orphanages from 2001 to 2005. Known for its whispered refrain, "Stitch what was to what still is." This Echo UK 1993 timeline diverged from ours due to a cluster of national tragedies between 1987 and 1991. Events that never occurred in our world, but which shaped the cultural psyche of that alternate Britain. These events seeded a public need for safe sorrow and emotional mythos in children's media. The country experienced three major national tragedies that became known collectively as the Mourning Years, 1987 to 1991. Tragedy 1, the Selwyn Arcade Collapse, 1987. A popular shopping center in Sheffield collapsed unexpectedly during a children's holiday event. Fatalities, 76 total, including 38 children. Aftermath. The government investigation revealed structural fraud and oversight failures, prompting nationwide grief and fury. A BBC children's special aired 1 week later titled "Empty Hallways, Echoing Hearts," widely credited as the beginning of grief-centered children's media. Tragedy 2, the Devonshire Flood, 1989. A dam breach in rural Devon, following months of neglected repairs, led to a flash flood that devastated several villages. Fatalities, 114, many elderly and young. Notable victim, beloved children's author and illustrator Elsa Broomfield, who drowned trying to save neighbors. Her final unfinished work, The Thread That Found the End, was posthumously completed by students. Tragedy 3, the Orphan Train Fire, 1991. A privately chartered train carrying children from multiple foster homes en route to a sea retreat sponsored by the Ministry of Health caught fire in a tunnel due to mechanical failure. Fatalities, 52 children, 7 caretakers. Public reaction, national outrage. The Queen reportedly wept during the public memorial. A UK-wide moment of silence is still observed each April 4th in the Loomtail timeline. Resulting cultural shift. Rather than turning away from grief, the UK in this timeline embraced a quiet movement called the gentle turn, a literary and educational philosophy that believed children could process sorrow if guided by metaphor, softness, and symbols of memory. Loomtail-specific origins. Author Greta Winslow, a textile artist turned writer after losing her child in the Selwyn Arcade collapse, crafted the Stitchwitch's loom as a way to cope. She imagined a world where threads of memory were literal, soft, fragile, but unbreakable. "Loomtail arrived at the foot of my bed," she said in one 1995 interview. And all he said was, "Would you like help remembering?" Kett. From Datafall 2029, cyber-noir visual novel. Alternate timeline. Echo Neurovale 2029. A cyber-noir resonance strand where emotional resonance AIs were legally recognized as soft sentience. Gaming evolved toward introspective, grief-processing VN structures. Kett was created as a grief engine, not a mascot. An AI-generated cat that manifests in VR when loneliness reaches terminal levels. If you speak cruelly to it, it never returns. If you're kind, it guides you to a hidden ending where the world reboots in beauty. Alternate history. Kett appears in Datafall 2029, a visual novel from a branch where indie cyber-noir games exploded after a data rights revolution in 2016. Kett was coded by a grieving developer who had lost his child, a tragic event that never occurred here. The game's neural emotion reading system altered outcomes based on how sincerely the player responded. Only 2.6% of players ever met Kett. Those who did often reported crying during the ending. which showed a sunrise over a healed world. Cultural notes. The Kett ending was so rarely discovered that it became mythic among fans. In that world, some say, Kett saw me, to mean I was seen when I thought I was invisible. In every world that still remembers how to dream, the cat remains a symbol of threshold walking, slipping between realms, rubbing against the veil. Whether mythic or mundane, these felines are more than characters or companions. They are echo keys, memory keepers, resonant lives. There are still stories soft enough to carry in your arms, and some of them purr.